Next curve.
Hey everybody, how's it going? This is Leonard and Earl, Executive Analyst at Next Curve. And we are here at a restaurant called Fonda Peppa, which is muy delicioso. Right? Right? And this is a very, very special episode of the Next Curve reThink podcast. And this is going to become a annual tradition. Every single time we come to MWC, we're going to have a nice dinner, right? And we're going to have some nice wine. See, this is beautiful wine, by the way.
Not AI wine, eh?
As they say in Spain. And yeah, he just took the trash out, so don't mind him. It happens, okay? We're trying to keep this all natural, organic, because we're going to have a natural and organic conversation about
Mobile World Congress.
Mobile World Congress, right? And so Earl and I have been here since Saturday, and it's been a crazy week. It's always a crazy week, right? I don't even think we need to say this next year, because you can all assume it was just a crazy week. So, anyways, I'm here with my co-host for this annual MWC recap 2025 in Barcelona. Right? Not Barcelona, Barcelona. And we have Marc Pous, and I pronounced it correctly this time.
Absolutely.
Last time I didn't. I discovered how to pronounce his name, and he was very happy, and I'm very happy that he didn't crush me, because, he is very big. And then I'm here also with Earl of EJL Wireless. He is the master of the antenna, the radio, and the DU, right?
Right.
And so, any of you folks out there that want to know when the radio is going to come back, right?
When are the antennas going to go?
When are the antennas are going to come back? You're going to call him. And if you want to learn why the antenna matters, you're going to call him. So, let's get started, gentlemen. So,
No, I'm worried. The antennas are going to come back.
what?
Sure, they never went away.
So we did. Just
You will be wearing a colander on your head protecting you from the electromagnetic waves.
Yeah, so, hey, what did you think about this year's event?
I think there was some surprising observations regarding booth sizes, regarding some major companies that had downsized their booths. And I think there was obviously this whole, the two letters of ANI plastered in every hall from number 1 all the way to number 8.1. And at the end of the day, I think a lot of the companies that were there, at least the ones that I saw, feel pretty good about where they're going to be in 2025 and beyond, because they make hardware. I don't know about the other companies that are not making hardware, but at least the ones that I talked to and where they're focused on right now, things are starting to look good and better from where they were maybe a year ago or two.
Oh, okay. Well, they were it was kind of looking kind of grim, right?
It was.
Okay, so
I think things have bottomed out.
Yeah.
And now we're at a point where, as we look at this next phase, before we get to 5G Advanced, before we get to whatever 6G will be, how do we continue to upgrade the network, add more capacity, etc.?
Awesome. So what about you, Marc?
yeah, AI was everywhere. It was too much for me.
Kind of disgusting? Is disgusting the word that you would use to describe?
Yeah, and then we were mentioning the mix of smart and AI in the same sentence. To me, it's too much.
Smarter AI.
No. But I thought we made this clear, Marc. There is incredibly dumb AI.
Yeah.
Okay, you do AI wrong, it's incredibly stupid.
Yeah.
And it causes a lot of problems, right?
The thing is still AI, right? So
Yeah.
or not, maybe not. But
from a marketing perspective, I think it was
But now I have very clear. So we have been through this hype from IoT to today. So I have very clear that AI will be the same, and in the future, in
no question,
5-10 years, AI will disappear from the vocabulary as IoT is disappearing, right?
It's not disappearing.
Not disappearing, but Tesla doesn't say that it's an IoT car, right?
Well, yeah, because what have we been saying? What have I been saying for 7 years?
Indeed.
Stop talking about IoT. It's all about value. It's about the application. Understand that it's an aspect of a business solution, right? And the irony is that I say that all the time. I know it's like friggin' hard, right? It's not an easy thing to do. That's why, on IoT Coffee Talk, IoT Stars, it's something that we always talk about because that's something that we try to promote within the IoT community. But we also know that how difficult it is for companies that are simply doing hardware or they're just focused on the connectivity. And, but I think, quite honestly, I'll tell you something. I think there's going to be a bit of a resurgence of IoT in the coming future because I think, one of the things that you really could get a good impression of is the fact that like AI, and to be very specific, not generative AI.
No.
The ML stuff, the more what do you call it, classical type machine learning. The things that people have been working on forever in the embedded world, right?
Yeah.
That's going to become that's going to become more powerful. Number one, closer to the edge, closer to the sensor, and I think that's going to create some new opportunities. And it's all about perception. Who is it that said? Remember? Oh no, it was somebody on stage that says, "What's that gentleman?"
Christoph.
Yeah, he said IoT is about collecting data. Yes, sensors and collecting data. It's as easy as that, right? And of course, we have to give a lot of credit to the godfather of IoT, Rob Tiffany.
Where are you?
Where are you? How can what I can't understand is how IDC can hold that guy back.
Yeah.
From being here.
How much money is he making?
Oh, it's ridiculous. IDC, you must unleash the Tiffany every MWC. But anyways, okay, so what did you think about AI? AI RAN. Let's talk about AI RAN because that's about as relevant as AI is to Earl Lum of EJL Wireless.
The AI in RAN or the AI for RAN, and certainly the AI for RAN, not the number 4, but FOR, is, I think, a more realistic approach to look at what could be done with the RAN instead of having a 3-letter acronym beginning with the letter G and ending in U that is going to be at an edge macro site and that is going to consume kilowatts of power that the site does not have. So the potential incremental benefit of saving money, not making money, for AI in RAN has to be really considered. I think everyone understands how AI saves money, improves efficiency, and all of that, but making money is a completely different story that I think there is no tangible evidence of how that could be done at this point.
And I think that's like a consistent message that we heard across the board. And it is one of the questions I was asking. Or, it's not even a question I was asking. I was, no, it was a question. Sorry. I have to ask a question to get an answer, right? Well, consistently.
Unless you ask yourself.
Yeah. It's late. Like I said last year, we work hard for you to bring these insights, And how many steps did you put in? Something
One day I put in 30,800
30,000.
and 55, which is about 3.37 miles.
Yes.
And that was the day I unfortunately had to go near Hall 8, which I regretted.
Yeah. Well, as they say in American, holy moly. That's like...
I thought that was Batman.
Yeah.
It said holy moly, or Robin.
Yeah. I mean, they speak American. So...
Speak English.
No, they speak American. Yeah. The monetization piece, this thing that everyone claims is revenue. Nobody knows. No one.
Right. But everyone knows about saving money.
Saving money, right. But one of the things that's quite evident, and it's the design decision that RAN engineers have to make, is figuring out, as they look at AI, how do you balance the benefits with the cost of intelligence, like what you're saying, right?
And does it need to be analyzed in real time, or once every hour, once a day? What is it that you're trying to look at that is causing a problem in your network?
Yeah.
It could be a cluster of cells. It could be a few issues with the actual PCI codes and the other things that are in the network. It could be a bunch of things. So the question is what do you want this thing to be looking for in this pool of data that's been collected across the network to find and improve specific tangible functions?
You know what? I discovered just now that I speak a hell of a lot better after a couple of glasses of wine. Isn't that strange?
It is for you.
Yeah, but you drank more than a couple, so what happened after that?
It was the mix of the white and the red.
Oh, maybe. You know that...
Don't out me like that ever again, okay?
But, in computer science, there is as well a theory that if there is a specific moment of drinking alcohol that you program, you write code better.
You're in the zone.
Exactly, but you don't need to drink more.
Because then you're out of the zone.
Exactly.
Really?
I don't remember the name of that theory, but that's the name.
Yeah,
maybe you are in the zone.
Yeah, it's called the scaling law of logarithmic exponential coding efficiency, right? Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. I don't either.
Well,
I'm a hardware guy.
Okay. Anyway. That's one of the big realities. I don't think the hype has factored that in. And like my impression of this year's event was this. Just like at AWS reInvent, there's this huge layer of marketing nonsense AI stuff, generative AI, okay?
Yeah.
That is super unsubstantial, that hides a lot of really good stuff. Like, I went to the AWS booth this year, and when I was at reInvent, it was so hard to observe their solutions, that the practical stuff, because they had overlaid so much like generative AI junk, narrative junk on top of it. This, here at MWC, they took some of that stuff off, and you can actually see what they were talking about, like the stuff that's really going to benefit the operator. So like one of the things that they were getting really excited about were these knowledge graphs that you create of the network. And, they call it digital twin. I don't really call it digital twin. It's more like a model, right?
Yeah.
That you can run simulations on. Yes, it's hydrated by a digital twin, like we always talk about on IoT Coffee Talk, but it can give you a sense of the state of the network, and then you can do an analytics and simulation on top of it. And you could see it. And the funny thing is that the generative AI piece was just a thin veneer of interface. And quite honestly, I don't think that's a friggin' big deal.
Yeah.
It's insignificant. And I think that's what vendors have to realize. You have to very quickly understand the value of a technology and how it's applied in a fit-for-purpose way. And the hype right now of generative AI is so detached from where these things are landing in a practical sense, even with agentic AI. Yeah. Agentic AI is becoming super narrow, task level, not process level, task level. And you literally have to make it so specific that it loses the general, this promise or expectation that it's going to be a general AI for agentic. And so, you know what we're back to?
Where?
It's like freaking basic RPA. Like what we were talking about at IoT Conference, what I've been talking about for 2 years.
Yeah.
It's like freaking ridiculous. What do you think? Am I talking too much?
No, you're talking about stuff that I don't care about. Leonard. How's that?
No,
Let's just be upfront and frank.
No, let me point something that I've seen that I had never seen before in Mobile World Congress is a lot of people talking about geopolitical decisions that they will need to take in the near future.
Right. Where is your factory located? Where do you potentially have to move it? What region? Does it have to have an assembled in or made in sticker with a certain country attached to it on the carton or on the actual label of the unit itself? All these things are becoming extremely important. So the supply chain risk for every company now
Absolutely.
Is, I think, starting to rise to the top.
Yeah.
So that's something that I never seen before. But I mean, maybe German companies preferred specific countries to buy instead of others. But I saw that more general this year. I don't know.
Well, yeah. I mean, we had incidents before the week started. Yeah, and you could definitely tell that there was a disruption in the quote-unquote trust fabric, the geopolitical trust fabric. And I think the reaction from a lot of Europeans that we spoke to was pretty severe, right? And so we'll see how that works out. But definitely.
It's going to be a bit disruptive, in the near future.
Yeah, it's disruptive. I think the response is still, and the reaction is still in process.
But it's not going to be over quickly. It's going to have a long tail.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's a good point. Yeah, we don't know. No.
Yeah.
We don't know, but it's there. It's an elephant in the room, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, but before we go any further, I want to thank all the engineers and the product teams that spoke with us. Special appreciation for these folks because, I'll say it again. I don't like speaking to CEOs and C-level folks. No offense to any of those that I spoke to. It's just, we get it. You got to say what you got to say, but it's people who are in the trenches, the folks who are working the technical details and doing the hardcore engineering who actually know the nuances.
They can tell you.
Super appreciate you guys.
By not having any filtering at all and saying everything that's on your mind.
Yeah. And hold on. We got to do this. Come on, guys. What the hell? I'm really bad at this, and I'm Korean.
Sorry. I wanted to. Yeah. No,
okay.
You wanted to do this, and.
No, I already did it. So, in other words, we love you guys. All right. So what? So IoT. Did we cover IoT?
No, IoT Stars.
Yeah, we had 10th anniversary, folks.
Yeah, 10th anniversary, and it was an event at Straight with the speakers dinner. I think we had decent amount of people. We had fun. I think the content was good.
It was great.
We had two profitable IoT companies on stage talking. Well, probably more than two, right? Probably. Yeah. Nordic and Monogoro and ZeroQ. I don't know, a satellite communication company, if it's profitable yet or not. But it's something that it didn't happen before, right? It is hard to see a profitable company in the IoT space. I think that's an interesting check mark.
Well, that there's hope.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think that the companies who were able to reach this point can have like a bright future. Absolutely. I'm really happy that I'm sad that I couldn't make it happen with my company, but it's cool that the IoT it's getting in. No, it's just a feature on a lot of products now.
Okay.
Yeah, and like what you're saying. I mean, it's these hype cycles, more than scaling laws of generative AI, ridiculous computing, is much more a law than any of these like hypothetical, convenience-based scaling laws, right? And we're seeing them like decompose very quickly.
Yeah.
And honestly, this is why we're analysts. This is why Mark is whatever the hell you are. What are you? You're not an analyst.
I'm the developer.
He's the IoT giant. The reason why we do this is because, when you go up this proverbial hump of nonsense, yeah, sure, you're excited, right?
Of course.
And you think that there's,
shiny,
right, bright and shiny, all this.
You're in love, right?
You're in love.
The first day.
And everyone has their little Amway kumbaya, until you discover the crazy.
Exactly.
And then reality hits you very quickly. And then, it becomes a dire situation pretty quickly, right?
Shit happens,
Yeah. And that's why it's important to be grounded constantly. And, it's interesting. In my observation, the people who are grounded are very much the minority.
Yeah.
Right.
Here's what we were talking before about 4 years from now, no?
Yes.
If you see all of these startups, and I was saying, me as a startup, I prefer to be selling, right? Instead of talking with and pitching in front of.
And spending money to have a kiosk or a pod or whatever, a Hall 8 and 8.1.
Yeah. No, or 8.0, which is even worse. Did you go to 8.0? It was, you had to go downstairs.
I don't go to 8. 8.x I don't go to. Unless I'm leaving the Fira.
No, I was surprised that at 8.0, so you had to go downstairs. There were a lot of people, so they put their health companies and I don't know what else.
Oh, the wearables and everything, or?
It was startups, but at least I met a friend who has a health startup, and she was there.
Yeah.
I don't know what else. Something else was there, but it's interesting that they did the categorizations well, so people could focus. And there were a lot of people on Wednesday there, so I was surprised because 8.0, it's like you never go to 8.0.
No, there were a lot of people there. There were a lot of people even today.
Oh yeah. Oh wow.
Yeah. And so, you know what? Let's talk about what we talked about last year. I think we were like pretty on hit from our chat last year, talking to the mirror, if you recall. And Dionysus, or that's not how it's spelled, but I guess that's how you.
The god of
Dionysus,
wine.
Yeah. So what we talked about the Open RAN Squid Game, right? How did that go, by the way?
Well, for those people that are still alive and in the game, I think they are. They're waiting to find out if they're going to sink to the bottom of the Marianas Trench.
Yeah.
Or are they going to survive? And if they do survive, are they going to find land, but it'll be a deserted island, or they find land in this civilization again?
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of radio companies, there's a lot of small cell companies, there's a lot of companies that are trying to still do private 5G in whatever way, shape, or form. And then we have the hopes and dreams that Vodafone will save them, or some other major operator here in Europe that will believe that there is a time and a place for Open RAN to be deployed across their networks.
Okay, cool. Yes. Open Squid Game season 1 is over, and we're looking forward to season 2, and it should be just as dramatic, if not
season 2 could have some characters that die.
Oh my gosh.
That didn't die in the season 1.
Earl is mean. Anyway,
this is what we talk about IoT companies, right?
Yeah.
Minutes ago,
yeah.
and this is what's going to happen in probably in 3 seasons with AI companies.
Right. Yeah. So that's why you have to watch IoT Coffee Talk. We get ridiculous and silly, but there is sarcasm is a distilling force, you know, and an outcome of sarcasm is a bit of truth.
Yeah.
So, the other thing, last year, MWC was about future first. Remember what we said about future first? It's like, you know, before you worry about the future or aspire to the future, friggin' deal with the present and all the challenges that we have in the present. And, you know, like one of the things I want to tell our audience is this, is that the reason why you look to the future is because you either don't know how to deal with the present or you don't know, you don't want to deal with the present or you don't know how to deal with the present, or both.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, that's the only reason. Problem solvers, innovators know how to figure out how to get from point A, which is the present, to the next step. Innovation doesn't get you to X unless you have a series of innovations to get to that, you know, horizon. And that is the big problem with this industry, right? Is we have a bunch of people going around floating metaverse, blockchain, GenAI, agentic, blah, 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 without focusing on what's essential for the industry today. And I think one of the positive things that we saw, at least on the stage, is they put AI as a sub-bullet on the presentation. And they talked about more grounded things, like more like reasonable priorities about how to move the ball, get European operators in the European telco industry, you know, better poised to move forward, especially with 5G. Mm-hmm. So, you know, the priority is 5G SA. Once you do that, you can unleash a lot of capabilities that are pent up right now. And that's been my big message this year. And so it does frustrate me that we still have these folks going out literally undermining the industry by constantly feeding the industry with distracting hype. And we see the consequences of it constantly. And, you know, hopefully the audience and you guys that are listening to this reject that stuff, or at the least, if you're in it, start asking tough questions, because some of these people who are pumping the hype, they are not doing the industry a favor, and there's tons of evidence for it. Absolutely. And if you want evidence, just watch our show, because we call it every year. It's like, and this is not rocket science. It's just a matter of asking the essential questions you should be asking.
This is one of the best advices I heard this year. So I think,
really?
If you're watching this, if you're watching this, and don't get into this rabbit hole of trusting people selling you the hype.
Yeah, because the only reason why they do that is because they're not innovators, they're not problem solvers.
They pretend to, or they are no.
Yeah, I tell people all the time, I can imagine the craziest stuff. I can come up with the most outrageous semi-technology-based, you know, fantasies. It's easy.
What's the name of this tale? Like the king is naked? No, or no? That some people try to sell like a dress. Yeah.
King of Snakes.
I don't know. Yeah, this is the translation that we have here.
Yeah, it's close enough. King of Snakes. Yes.
Okay. So
yeah. AI is hard. It's not easy. It's not magic. You know, people who have been working with it, they know this already. Yeah. You know, and so these folks that go around making technology like an easy thing, you know, they're distracting the industry from funding things that are important, that get you to the next step. And so hopefully this year, the industry, especially Europe, is starting to look at what do we need to really practically do to get to the next step. And, I noticed this. It was only the Chinese that came into the keynote sessions with like outrageous AI, stories and hype messages.
And what was the motto this year of Mobile World Congress?
What? Oh, it's something like feel the power of connectivity or something?
Yes, connectivity.
Experience the power of connectivity.
That sounds to 2010, right?
That's good.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah,
No,
maybe
it is good.
They want like a stable technology that it's a reality today, right?
Exactly. Today.
Yeah.
Today.
So that's
The future.
That's connecting what you were telling.
And GSMA, you probably saw our video. No doubt, you guys saw our video last year, and they said, these guys might be onto something. But look, so we're not haters, right?
No, absolutely.
We love the fact that you guys brought connectivity back to the center of the conversation, because that's the important thing.
We were missing these.
Exactly what we said for the 2 years we've been saying that, right? As the metaverse nonsense was playing out, and then now it got hijacked by generative AI, and all you're doing with those investments is discovering that these hypes are not what they're cracked up to be. And what a waste of time, right?
Yeah.
And so congratulations for getting back to connectivity.
A waste of a lot of money. Not just the time. It's the money.
Yeah.
And it's not your money that you wasted. Yeah. You wasted an investor's money.
Yeah.
And they're not going to be happy.
Yeah.
And they're not going to give you more money. So
Maybe.
I think that's a cycle. Maybe, but unlikely. I guess the thing is, from my perspective, what I saw, I want people out there to remember this phrase that the antenna is the most important element of a mobile network.
Yeah.
Without it, you don't have a network. You don't have any communication. You don't have any connectivity. So respect the antenna.
Respect the antenna.
Yeah, and I always have this discussion with engineering firms that when they design a hardware, like an IoT device, antenna is the last thing to put into the schematics.
Right. It's not that little upside down triangle with the line
oh,
that
it
goes
doesn't fit.
to
Let's
the
use a
receiver.
UFL connector.
Yeah.
Like, come on, guys.
Yeah, so let's give a little shout out to our friends at Giant, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Yop and his crew over there. Yeah, doing some cool. Yeah, they focus on the antenna, right?
Indeed, yeah.
Yeah.
They have super interesting software as well to help companies to design the right antennas for their hardware. And on the other hand, it's good to have seen them growing in the IoT Stars, because this year they didn't talk, but we were in negotiations to have them on IoT Stars, because after pandemics they presented like the idea of this antenna that can work in multiple technologies. Then 2 years after they presented probably there will be a massive project with massive amount of devices with our antennas, and this year they are presenting their project with I think last December they saw 8 million of antennas just for one project.
That's awesome.
So it's
congratulations, guys,
succeeding.
So I think it's time for us to consider wrapping up, because our audience is getting bored and they have a 15-second attention span. So if you've made it this far, you are part of a statistically insignificant
and the
group of people.
For a crap.
Of course, you are the most significant group of people, but statistically, you are the most unlikely to have made it this far. But yeah, let's. What do you think is going to happen next year? Through the course of this year, that's going to shape where MWC 2025 should be, because we don't know what GSMA is thinking. Who knows? There may be quantum nonsense that starts, which is already brewing up. So people, early warning, ignore that crap, okay? Don't even waste your time. Focus on connectivity, and GSMA, don't play that game. What do you think?
I think that if we look at all throughout this year, There's going to be a lot of speculation on the timing, the money that's going to be involved in 5G Advanced. How long do I need to wait before I want to do something? But I agree with you what you said earlier. You can't make money until you get the SA. So for those operators that have not had a chance to really look at the strategy and how they're going to do it, maybe you don't do the entire network. Maybe you do it in pockets where you have money or you know you're going to make money. And that's certainly an area where private 5G wireless is low-hanging fruit because it's on-prem. You don't have to go to the cloud. You put the core there, you could have it completely SA, and now you have an ability to add and do all of the wonderful things that 5G had promised however many years ago.
No.
It's a really hard question. I think we are going to see, I don't know, more, maybe innovations, more tangible innovations on SIM cards, right? All the EC, right? The iSIM, whatever.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be relevant next year. I think these multiple connectivities at the same time available on, at least on IoT devices, or maybe on mobile phones, like it's working on 4G, 5G, whatever. But if there is no connectivity, it works with satellite communication for specific things. I hope that this is going to happen, and hopefully we are going to see like successful use cases or success stories or profitable business cases for AI in telecommunications ecosystem.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
And I hope that all of these, I don't know, I have mixed feelings about all of the geopolitical thing. So I hope that, I don't know, something crazy happens that makes the world to run again, hopefully peacefully.
Yeah, in that regard, maybe, the theme for next year, because we might be looking at a mobile industry that's bifurcated or even becoming increasingly fragmented. A good thing might be, and this might be aspirational at that point, global first. Because mobile is supposed to be, all the energy that's been put into the mobile industry and the standards, 3GPP, and everything that we've been trying to do is to have a global standard, right? A global industry. And now that's come under threat. And so
I think that notion of global is, how do you define global? Is it global without China? Or is it global with China?
No, we're talking about global with China, right?
Wow.
Well,
come on.
Realism is that that's a global without China.
I mean, it's
from a manufacturing and supply chain and everything else. There's going to be two numbers that everyone looks at from a market perspective. One where you actually get to sell and participate in China, and one where you don't. That is the reality today. And
that
be
is
that way for a while.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And, you mentioned eSIM and a lot of these cross-network technologies, network APIs. That was a big thing for me this year. And shout out to Erickson for inviting me out to speak. Eric, hopefully you recovered from your experience having a one-on-one conversation with me.
The trauma of talking to Leonard.
Yeah.
Unscripted.
You know how I am. This is all unscripted. We had no idea what we're going to talk about. But of course, all of this is like golden stuff, right? Yeah, it's stuff only the stuff that matters, folks. But I think that's an interesting domain to look at, and that could dovetail really well into this idea of global first. And like you said, is it a global with China or without China or without the United States now, or with the United States? Because I think there's going to be sort of the semi-neutral zone, and then you're going to have the United States and China, and how you transfer, verse these geopolitical domains could be really important. I think network APIs, especially with, these exchanges that I think are going to become trust brokers, because communication, that's how it's essential for society, economy, and something else that doesn't come to mind at the moment. Can you help me out here?
No.
No? Okay.
But maybe that makes sense, right? You have two profiles on your system of communication, no?
Yeah.
US and the rest of the world, or China and the rest of the world, right?
Right.
Three.
And,
China by itself, US, and then the rest of the world.
oh, yeah, you predict that?
I don't know, but I know that if you haven't accepted the reality that there is this split market there, then
Yeah, no, absolutely.
you're probably a Chinese supplier supplying into China.
Yeah.
Because the rest of us who aren't supplying into China have already accepted that.
Yeah.
I mean, for people who have never been in China, so, I mean, going to, nowadays, not 2025, if you go to China, to a big city, even a city that you never listen about it, and then you go to the US, I think China it's maybe 50 years advanced, right? To the US, could you please confirm that?
Don't tell that to an American.
No, but that's
No.
Let's accept so, the innovation and the
Yeah.
technology that they have.
Right.
This maybe because they jumped, so they didn't go through all the steps.
leapfrog.
Yeah.
Exactly, they leapfrog. So that's easy. I mean, that's easy.
But the leapfrogging also is dependent on the foundation that the government is supporting all of the innovation and backing everything and actually enabling it all to be deployed.
Yeah.
And it's not just a completely private capital
No,
focus on
I'm not pro China or against
Right.
US or
But I think you will always see things in the Chinese market that will not port and export out to other regions and other countries because of the fact that it's its own market. And the clearest example of that is the look at how the emerging airspace industry in terms of under 1,000 feet or under several thousand feet, where you have drones that are doing delivery services and all these other things, where it's being managed by the mobile operators. And now we have to look at how do we air traffic control all of these drone technologies that are out there to actually enable a financial revenue stream to be emerging that will be unlikely seen in other regions around the world.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah. And I think speaking of leapfrog, that's why the European Union in particular really needs to consider the future of its competitive. Huh?
More bureaucracy?
No.
Ah, okay.
No. More leadership, decisiveness, commitment. Because, what China has done is what South Korea did, what Japan did, in basically taking that opportunity to advance in leading edge technologies, committing to that, deploying it, and then leapfrogging ahead. And China is doing that now, and that presents a significant competitive threat in Europe.
In Europe, we have been so naive with China. We thought that China were only manufacturing cheaper clothes or cheaper shoes. But then they discovered how to make technology and how to make software, how to make expensive cars. And then
in record time.
Yeah, and all this technology that Europe, we thought that we were the best doing. Yeah, we discovered that Mercedes cannot sell expensive cars to China anymore because they want their expensive electric cars instead of the German cars. So we are just waking up, realizing that that we are in front of a huge challenge.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Yeah, and the worst response is to hate.
Yeah.
Hate on somebody because they played you better. They played the game better than you did. I've never seen anybody win in the blame the other guy game. Absolutely. It's all about focusing on you and what your priorities are. And that's, I don't think there are any excuses. And so all of you who think that China, have never been, you don't know China, right? And if you've never been, right? Oh, no. I hear some of the most antiquated notions about China. They don't innovate. They only steal. It's like, look, guys.
They used to, maybe.
Well, arguably they might still do some of that.
Of course.
But the fact of the matter is they've gone beyond the Western state of art, and that's not stealing. That's called innovating. And the delusion, it can be your enemy in being able to really motivate your economy, your society, in competing. And like we always say, hype is delusion.
Yeah.
This is a similar type of thing. It's, just holding on to certain types of antiquated stereotypes is also another form of delusion, right?
Yeah. Don't be Cleopatra, the queen of denial.
Okay, on that note, hey, everyone, thanks for tuning in. And again, if you've made it this far, you are like the 0.001% of like...
You're in the 15th Sigma category.
I mean...
Write Cleopatra in the comments, please.
Yes. Hashtag Cleopatra.
Yeah, if you've made it this far, then we'll know.
Then we'll know you hit the magic word.
Yeah.
We can do a session.
John Baker is the
private
magic
session
word.
with you.
Yeah, we'll give you a free 1 hour consultation, free. Yeah, absolutely free. So, you know what? Thanks for watching. Remember to like, share your comments, subscribe. But most importantly, share your perspective. We really appreciate it. And remember to subscribe to the Next Curve Rethink podcast at www.next-curve.com. We're on YouTube and Buzzsprout. Also, make sure that you follow the IoT Giant over here, Marc Pous. Just bug him on LinkedIn. And then, of course, the illustrious and quite gritty and, friggin' sarcastic as hell. Yeah. Earl Lum at EJL Wireless at ejlwireless.com. He made it really easy. And we'll see you next year. Okay. Remember,
See you next year.
we are only about the stuff that matters. Take care.
Bye.